Hello, YouTube peers. Welcome to a new episode of What Did You Miss? This is episode 4. I'm going to record this video in not one go, as I did before. So I'm going to combine multiple videos into one at the end. So at the beginning here, as I review these highlights, these are just from, as you can see, less than 3 days ago, rather than less than 7 days ago. So let's jump right on into this. So I started off, okay, we played some Pokemon, we played some various, some Super Neptune RPGs, some Pokemon Unite, and that's about it so far. We're definitely going to be playing Levelhead and Super Mario Maker 2, but the time for playing those has not come yet this week. We're only about halfway through. And I was thinking I could stream this morning, but it might just be more relaxing just to do this. Just do this work now, so that way it's not as stressful trying to do it on Thursday. So let's jump on into this and let's review what happened. So I made some changes to... Oh yeah, actually, I guess I talked about it here. Yeah, so I added some PNGs of these various Pokemon to kind of decorate the scene a bit more. And anyway, this was a standard versus match, and so there isn't a whole lot to talk about here. We're at 1.5 speed boot. Let's go ahead and increase it to 2x speed. So his deck is mostly going to be this stage 1 Pokemon fighting again and again. Not sure if I won or lost this, but I think I might have won it. I put up some wins and some losses. I didn't put up every game. So I'm at 4 prize cards, he's at 5. So he didn't have a stage 1 to attack with there. Although I don't know what his ability did, I didn't read it. Oh, it prevented me from making an attack. Yeah, so that stage 1 Pokemon has a lot of damage potential, as you can see. If he knocks out another Lapras, he wins. So I started trying to not fight with my Lapras because I felt like it was too risky to do so. Oh yeah, this was an unfortunate thing. So what ended up happening was I had Articuno in play. No. Okay, so Articuno gets knocked out, and then I have to choose which one to put in front. So the thing was, I wanted to get the Zapdos out here and knock it out. I didn't realize I was going to top deck Malo. The problem is he only needs 1 prize to win. So as soon as he knocks out Articuno, he wins. Or in this case, Mantine, I guess. It doesn't really matter too much which one I use, because they both have the same amount of HP. I decided not to concede because I wasn't 100% sure he would knock me out. then he actually had enough energy and then he won. So yeah, I wanted Lysander, didn't get it, blah blah blah, whatever. That was a really, really painful loss because I didn't realize I was going to top deck Mala. I also didn't know if he would have the energy or not. I could have taken the risk of having the Lapras out there and then him knocking it out. I don't know. I'm not sure what I was thinking. Like, Lapras attacking would have been fine. I was trying to keep it safe, but I mean, at the end of the day, he could top deck boss order just as easily as I could top deck Malo, right? So I don't know. It was just such a weird moment, but yeah, I decided to go ahead and highlight that. You guys can watch that if you want. Like, it was kind of it was a, wait, where are our highlights? Let me refresh this real quick. What was I looking at? Did I hit the, okay, here we go. So that was that was a 15-minute long match. So there was definitely quite the build-up to that point. There was 2 more Lapras games that I decided to highlight that day. So let's check them out. This time I had a start of a Gnome, or Snom, or whatever it's called. The opponent has a Charizard deck with Minccino and Snorlax for draw support. So I used a Bird Keeper to get Frostmoth out of the active slot. Yeah, so Marnie is a potential issue when you play this Lapras deck. So as strong as it might look, there are ways to counter it, unfortunately. I mean, every deck should have a way to counter it. It's nice to win, right? So he's stalling with Snorlax, and it might have been this game that I decided, I'm going very slowly, and whether or not I won or lost, it was a close match, and even it probably shouldn't be a close match because I have type advantage, but his, frontline Pokemon isn't fire type, so that helps him in the matchup. So I think it was this game that made me decide that I want Suicune in the deck, perhaps, or it may have been a game like this. Not sure if Suicune's currently in the deck, but it probably isn't. Anyway, I think the previous highlight may have been, because it was 15 minutes long, whereas this one's 23. It processed faster, so it showed up earlier because it processed faster. So the highlights, when I click on them, whichever one apparently gets processed first, and then the one that gets processed next, and so on. And I'm only going through this one past broadcast at a time, too. So that explains my confusion from the previous episodes, as well as my confusion from this episode as far as which events happened before the others or after the others. I figured that out this morning, and so I just wanted to remind myself and remind you guys that this is a little bit mixed up, and I wouldn't know how to make a system where it just, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but anyway, I retreated some energy, which I discarded some energy, which I wasn't a big fan of, particularly considering I don't have any copies of the card to grab the energy from the discard. I could put one in the deck, I guess, although I don't know what I would take out for it. It might not be a terrible idea to take out a boss orders for it, but Boss Orders is pretty valuable, so I don't know. The thing is, like, you wouldn't have your choice of what you're attacking if you don't have Boss Orders. You just have to attack whatever the opponent says you have to attack. By, whatever they put in the active slot. Like in this case, I'm stuck fighting this Chinchino, so I have to hit him twice with my small Pokemon. Because if I try to hit him once with my big Pokemon, he might knock out my big Pokemon and take bonus prize cards. So I was forced to play more carefully than I would have preferred to. But it was still a relatively easy win. It's just that it was a lot closer than I would have preferred. Let's go ahead and move on to the next highlight. So that was Lapras versus Charizard. So we have a Lapras versus Decidueye deck. And this deck is what was making me want to try to get like a metal Pokemon deck going. So I might end up making a metal standard and a metal expanded deck. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it would be a main deck, maybe not. In any case, I was playing some metal expanded recently. So it starts off like innocently enough, and then the rare candy comes out, right? Yeah, these Drizziles allow him to pull his rare candy into his hand, and then he already had his evolution incense. So then he uses the combo of those to get his Decidueye out. Now his Decidueye is going to pick on my small Pokemon, and that's a bit of a problem. And with my water Pokemon, I don't really have a clear answer to that. There is a trainer card that I may have to try to find space for in this deck, but I don't know how that's going to work, because I don't know if I have to draw to support adding counter cards for this deck. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to work. Like, the deck barely gets by with the supporters that it has through deck thinning mechanics, such as grabbing Pokeballs and grabbing energy. I guess what I'm trying to say, it's not a very good deck, so I would make it worse by adding counter cards. And so it's like, it has to be a better deck before I could consider adding counter cards. Anyway, that was a messy match. There wasn't a whole lot to see there. I got stomped. Because my Lapras were not allowed to deal damage to those Decidueyes. But if I had there's a certain trainer card that you can use, and literally all the trainer card does is for that turn allow your Lapras to attack the Decidueye. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. It doesn't draw a card or anything. So that's what I mean. Like, in other matchups, it would be completely useless and just be a wasted card slot. But it would allow me to potentially win that matchup. It wouldn't guarantee I win it. I would have to draw it first and have the opportunity to attack the Decidueye with the Lapras, but that wouldn't be too hard to set up. So the question is, would I run 1 or 3 copies, right? 1, 2, or 3. Like, I guess you could run 4, but that would probably be absolutely horrible. Anyway, I own at least 3 copies of that supporter, I'm pretty sure now. I did some trades for it. Can't remember what her name is. So I think it might be Phoebe or something like that. So this was a Faria match, and I believe I was playing a Celeste match. So this one processed sooner. This was not one of my earlier matches, but it was one of the shorter matches. So he had a green creature. I kind of wanted to take out his rain feature immediately, but I wasn't really able to do that because of the land positioning. Because I can't just put a land wherever I want. It has to be connected to one of my other lands or my orbs. So or it has to be connected to a creature. So I jumped my creature past one of his lands. Well, more importantly, to be able to attack his structure, I could have just jumped it to the first land if I wanted to, but that wouldn't have obviously gotten me enough distance to attack the structure. From either land is my point. I was able to build a new land in between his lands, and so that's exactly what I did. Then he played a taunt creature, which kept his ranged creature up a bit longer. Apparently, it seems like he forgot to actually attack my orb. I guess he figured it doesn't really matter that much. He mostly was just planting it there to attack my well, but he did technically make a mistake. He could have done something that turn with that creature. He didn't even decide to move it, so it was basically idle. But in the long run, it doesn't really matter. He may have thought, maybe I don't have much of a chance of winning, so maybe I don't bother. But it was probably more of a matter of, let's just focus on surviving, and we can worry about winning later. Because I guess he was definitely pretty scared, because I had like a lake like right next to the creature. So I'm actually a little bit surprised though, because now that I think about it in hindsight, maybe what he should have done, if he had the space for it on his turn, is maybe he should have just moved his. He could have retreated his creature, move it to that plains. Yeah, because he activated his structure to destroy it, so he could have moved the creature to where his structure was. And if he had done that, then he could aim at this lake where I would deploy things. So I think he should have done that or attacked my orb. If he was focusing on surviving, well, maybe he kept it there because he figured from this position he could attack my creature in case I attack his orb. So maybe that meant he was planning on buffing his creature, which is not without merit, because he does have 2 forests, and you could buff cards. But I wonder, why not buff it now, if you're going to buff it? Especially since he decides to attack my orb this turn. Yeah, maybe he was trying to draw a buff card, and he just didn't draw it, and he was hoping to top deck one. That might have been why he kept his creature there. That's the main thing I can think of right now to explain it. Ugh. So yeah, there isn't much else to see. We take out that guy and then he quits. I stop his harvesting. Let's go to the next match. That was the jump versus ranged. So there were 2 more Faeria matches that day that I recorded. Let's go check them out. One was 30 minutes long, another one 25 minutes long. So these are going to be a bit long matches, and try to go through them quickly. I start off with a 0-5 turtle. This was my Celeste deck that I had to build. I'm going to build a new Celeste deck probably on my next stream. I wasn't really particularly happy with this one. So I just build another one from scratch, I think. Seems like a good idea. This was a pretty good game because I managed to get a Tarim out pretty early. Like, the opponent wasn't really doing very much. Like, they were just playing lands and saving up Faeria. So I was like harvesting Faeria and with my dude on the left. So it was a simple decision to just do nothing. I could have played another lake and played this guy, but he's not very useful. Unless you have more lands out. So I decided we could try to like threaten his orb with this taunt. It's a really big taunt, and then if he destroys it, then I'll get to flood the world with forests. The interesting thing is, if you are playing against this, and if you are playing green yourself, you can kill it, and all of your plains will turn into forests. That's what happened in this matchup. Like, both mine and his plains turned into forests. So it's pretty interesting. I feel like it might be a little bit overpowered. Maybe it shouldn't turn plains into forests, but it does. So that's just something you can plan for the future. Look at that. Out of 9 hits, it only hit this guy once. That's crazy. It hit that thing 5 times. It doesn't, like, it ruined my fairy harvesting. It was actually a very good Hellfire. It could have also been a good Hellfire, I guess, by hitting my orb a lot of times. But it kinda did, but not really. Most of the hits were on that swimmer. It's an aquatic creature, but I might as well call it a swimmer. It looks like he might have hit my orb like 7 times that time. Excuse me. Which is ridiculous. He's not harvesting right now, so his chances of winning are slim. Yeah, it looks like it's over. So he was able to nuke my creature, and he still has some mountains to work with. It's not like it, converts its existing mountains to forests. That would be disgustingly overpowered for sure. As it is, I think it's just regular overpowered. I was deciding whether or not I wanted to be next to my well or step on his mountain that was next to his orb, and I decided being at the well was more important since I was so low on Faria. Also, I was losing my creature that was on his other mountain anyway, so it's not like it would have been helpful. Oh, that was the lead-up game. Okay, apparently recorded more than one game. I guess that's fine. That was actually a game that I kind of wanted to record anyway. I suppose that was a cool game. So, was the next match the one where I played against the Tree of Everlife? Oh yeah, I had the same turtle start. That's what confused me. I had it 2 games in a row, even though I only have 1 copy of the turtle in the deck. Or tortoise, or whatever we're calling the thing. We'll call it the 05 swimmer. How about that? Alright, so this game, this guy puts up a pretty big defense. So I realize that this guy is extremely unlikely to be able to corrupt an enemy land, but I'm okay with that. I just want to keep the pressure on and keep him from harvesting while my turtle keeps harvesting on the left. So it puts me in a very advantageous situation. However, he's still getting decent value from playing those dudes that are buffing his dudes. It's hard for me to get at them at the moment. So he's not completely out of the game, but it's not looking like great for him either. And now I'm setting up to harvest on the right side as well. I make that sound a lot. Anyway, so yeah, this was quite the turn where I had to think about stuff. Can you believe I'm actually watching this in 2x speed? I'm so slow. So I decided to move towards this 4-4 with my big boy. I want to knock it out. That way we don't have to deal with it anymore. I'm saying knock out as if I'm playing Pokemon. And destroy that creature. Just not to worry about it buffing other creatures. This is war. This is not friendly competition anymore. So he buffs his creature. Now I theoretically could have had a card in my hand that would have allowed me to kill his 1/1 and then have my 5/7 attack his creature, so him buffing it wasn't such a terrible idea, but I'm not sure that was the best buff he could have used. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he would go for trying to kill the 2/4 or not. My draws are ending up kind of strange at the moment. So I ended up copying my 3-8 guy. So he was able to finally pick up some harvesting thanks to his taunt. But it's just for a turn or so. So it's not really a big deal. So he decides to play a land over there by moving his taunt forward, which is probably a good idea. It's not like my turtle is going to be attacking his 3-3. I decided I wanted to block his access to double harvesting, so I moved my guy out of the way so I could actually put a fighter there. Seems like a good idea. My hand is kind of empty because I'm basically just rushing the guy down. I think what I'm going to do moving forward is I'm going to make a Rush Celeste deck where I'm specifically putting cards in it that allow me to rush the opponent down. Some stuff doesn't really fit that criteria, like the Verduran Emissary. The 3-8s are fine though, the jumpers are fine. So he does slap down Tree of Everlife, and he plays an Imperial Engineer to heal himself immediately, as well as buff something in his hand immediately. Yeah, so I was a little bit concerned, but then I somehow managed to draw a Celeste, which is amazing. So he was only able to get one buff out of this tree, unfortunately for him, because my Celeste got drawn when I stepped on his land, and it got buffed. So it was strong enough to take it out in one hit. Otherwise it would have been a 6-6, and the Tree of Everlife would have had 1 HP. He would have buffed another creature, and who knows what else would have happened. Now he doesn't have taunts. Now he doesn't have his tree. The tree's not going to be healing him every turn. He's basically screwed. It doesn't matter what got buffed. It's all over for him now. And he quit, which is understandable. Anybody would. So there was one more Faeria game that I played that day. And then just yesterday I played some more Faeria. So I played Faeria 2 days in a row. Let's go ahead and check out the last highlight from that day. I might end up playing Faeria again today. It might be like a Faeria weekends thing, just because I don't have anything else on the weekends that somebody might actually watch that I could play. Like, people typically don't watch me during the week anyway, so I might as well play my RPGs during the week, I guess. I could play Mario Maker, but people don't really watch me play Mario Maker. They used to, but it was only because I would play their levels, but now that people aren't building levels, and they don't have a reason to watch me, apparently, is how that works. So this was a match that I think I lost. Yeah, no, I definitely did. It was a ranked 2 player that was a lot better than me, but I left it in there just so you guys could see that I don't win all my matches, blah blah blah. In fact, I lose most of my matches against higher ranked players, just for the record. Like, players that are at least rank 3 or higher, I lose most of my matches against them. And I assure you, it's not because, I think that I'm bad at the game, it's because I am bad at the game. In some cases, it could be somewhat random that I would lose, although in probably smaller cases, it's uh, also a smaller chance that I win. But I kid you not, I think when I win, it's either through randomness or it's because the guy's rank is lower. Like, I'm not messing around. Like, the randomness doesn't seem to give me. I'm not sure what I'm even saying here. I mean, I at the end of the game, at the end of the day, this game is going to be random, but good players know how to deal with the randomness, and they use that randomness to construct good decks, use that randomness to predict future turns, blah blah blah. It's kind of like chess. It's more complicated than chess, but it still shares a lot of similarities with it. I was never like particularly good at chess, so yeah. I remember playing a really good chess game. I believe it was on the PC. I don't remember which game it was, but it was an awesome chess game. It had some really high quality, like animated intelligence players that you could play against, and it also even allowed you to modify the chessboard in pieces, like in a wide variety of ways. So it was a really high quality chess game, and it really showed me just how bad I was at the game because I couldn't beat a lot of the AIs. It just would blow my mind how amazingly good they were. Um, and I've also tried to do speedrunning chess, and I'm absolutely garbage at it because I think way too slowly. Like I think like Etheria might actually just be like barely within my skill range to play it in its current form. But there's some Faria decks that I just can't play. They're too complicated. Like I'm not intelligent enough to play them, and that's how. And I think Faria is an amazing game for that. I think that's really cool. That like some of the best decks, you have to be really intelligent to play them to their best uh, potential, to their highest potential. I mean, and also like that's the thing too. They actually made it so collection is no longer a thing anymore. So like you don't have to worry about like, oh, how long is it going to take me to earn that card or something? Accidentally closed the tab that I was supposed to leave open. Whoops. Let's just go back to the highlights. So yeah, I definitely feel like my passion towards Feria has been reinvigorated, and so moving forward, yeah, I don't see a reason not to just play it on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days in a row. It seems like it's fine. People seem to enjoy coming by and watching me play cards sometimes. Like, I don't know, like it's not the viewership levels that I ever got in Mario Maker, but good enough, I guess. So it's better than having nobody watch me at all, like when I played this game, for example. So this game's just a story-driven game. I suppose it's somewhat understandable that it would be hard for a small streamer to get views on a game like this, uh, especially because this game doesn't really seem like it requires much skill to do well on it. You kind of just keep battling monsters and your characters get stronger, and then like I don't know, maybe if I speedran the game that would be a different story, but I'm not sure if this is a game I would want to speedrun. It might not be painful to speedrun it, to be honest, but at the same time, uh, I don't know, like you can skip, I'm not sure what all you can skip, but you can skip a lot of stuff in this game. But I don't know, I didn't really enjoy the battle system that much. But I mean, if you did say, you know, you have to speedrun a game or else I will kill you, then okay, then I would definitely, consider speedrunning this game, compared to the rest of the games that have options to speedrun, right? I would definitely consider it if it was a matter of life or death, sure. Um, As you can see, there were a lot of conversations during the stream and a lot of battles. There wasn't really much going on in the way of exploration. I kind of knew where I needed to go, unlike previous times where I was being restricted thanks to they wanted me to progress the story in order to do monster marks. It's kind of weird. Like they have like I want to say 12 or more monster marks that they advertised, while they only let me defeat like 3 of them or something like that, which was kind of annoying. Maybe it was even less than 3. I think it was only like 2. So I actually fought some bosses, and unfortunately what ended up happening was my game crashed. So I'm not sure why, but it might have been due to getting a friend request. Not sure if that would be a reason. But anyway, so the game does have some minor issue, I guess, with the crashing. I don't know why that happened, but anyways, it happened during the cutscenes after the 2 boss battles. See, this was the second one here. So I was healing my characters, I think, for a little bit, because she like ripped into my characters really hard after I was taking out her partner. I think it may have also been due to the fact that her partner actually did like a going out in a blaze of glory move, like when she got defeated, and that hit us really hard too. Actually, I think I had 3 characters knocked out, and I had to use some items. It was pretty intense. So if you guys want to watch the full thing, you're gonna have to subscribe, I think, to my Twitch. I went ahead and turned on subscriber-only archives for Twitch. So moving forward, hopefully we'll get some more support from my channel, at least through money, if not through viewer counts, because my viewer counts have been at rock bottom for a long time now, and it doesn't look like it's going to improve unless I make some changes around the channel. So, alright. So the next highlight is me playing Pokemon Unite. We actually have 2 highlights of that, and then we've got another Pokemon training card game highlight, another Super Neptunia RPG highlight, and we got a Faria and a Pokemon highlight to check out. So we still got a lot of content to go through. So as you can imagine, I'm glad I decided to start doing this on Sunday in addition to on Thursday, because it feels like it's necessary. Because a whole bunch of talking in one sitting, I don't want to go through all of this too fast, blah, blah, blah. So this is just a single match highlight. So I played Alolan Ninetales for the first time, so that's what this highlight's about. See, I'm cute little Vulpix right now, trying to level up, fighting some Apoms and stuff. So Alolan Ninetales, one of her weaknesses is that they move slow. This Slowbro seemed to be a new player. I'm not sure. I think the enemy team had quite a few new players on their team. I think they had a group of players. I think they were friends, to be honest. So that would explain why some new players were less skilled than you would expect a new player to be, because they were just friends of somebody else. Because a lot of the people that would play this game, that would be new players, would be like me, and they would be more aware of how these games go, because it's somewhat similar to League of Legends. Some people say it's literally League of Legends with Pokemon, and that does the game a disservice. Although they don't mean any insult by that, and it's not that I feel like anybody should be insulted by that comment, but it's still, I do think that it's just not as accurate a sentence as it could be. I it's not exactly Twisted Tree Line with Pokemon, but I do think that that's more accurate than saying it's League of Legends with Pokemon. So that is an alternate thing you can say, because Twisted Tree Line was a game mode inside League of Legends. So you could also say it's Dominion with Pokemon as well, I guess, but it's not really much like Dominion. The capture points are similar, sure, but it's also like Heroes of the Storm. I would say if you just say Twisted Tree Line and Heroes of the Storm, then you already have a lot of truth in that. Because like in Heroes of the Storm, you can start battling like right away. There are some very significant differences between it and Heroes of the Storm for sure. Even actually, I don't know. I think that they are going to make some big changes to the game eventually moving forward. What I mean to say is not necessarily content updates, but like minor detail changes that actually cause the game to change in big ways, if that makes sense. I could try to explain what I think they would be, but I'm not sure if that's something that should be in a video like this. So my next highlight is me playing my first ranked game. So I made it to level 6. So I was allowed to start playing ranked. So I picked Slowbro. This Pikachu player was pretty good. I don't think they actually buffed Pikachu, but a lot of players are just deciding to learn to be good at Pikachu. I think that's just what it is. I think it might have been on somebody else's stream. Somebody's Pikachu was being very impressive with how they aimed one of their long range attacks, I think. Unless it was just auto aim just being awesome. I'm not sure, but I don't think it was. But in any case, kind of reminds me of Asmodan. Pikachu has an ability with this really long range projectile, uh, and it lands like in a circle, just like Asmodan's ability does from Heroes of the Storm. So if you guys like Asmodan, you might like Pikachu as well, because Pikachu moves a lot faster than Asmodan does, and he just generally is like, he feels more like a carry. So if you guys like the carry, characters, I hesitate to use that word, but I don't know. It kind of like triggers people a little bit in a good way, I guess, if they like those kinds of characters. It's more accurate to call it like an assassin, I guess. Pikachu is kind of an assassin character, not so much in a sneaky way, but just a straight up damage way. So in other words, like ranged assassin is what they call it in Heroes of the Storm, like Vala or something like that, or Rainer, whatever. Just like ranged damage per second or whatever you can call it, or burst damage or something. Anyway, yeah, I think he's kind of a cool character. I I actually like playing Pikachu, and I like playing with and against him too. Like, I think he's pretty fun. Um, so yeah, I have no complaints about Pikachu, and I think other players will like him too. So Talonflame, I don't like as much as Pikachu, but I do like Talonflame as well. I pretty much like all of the Pokemon in this game, other than like, I think Venusaur is the only Pokemon I don't really like, but I think that's mostly because he's not good. I think that's the main reason. Um, like I wouldn't want to play as him, and I'm not sure if I would want to play with him or not. I may have learned enough about him that maybe I could help him do well if he's on my team. But if I'm playing with random people, they might rage quit if Venusaur's on his team, because I think people know Venusaur's bad. Like, the problem with Venusaur is he's definitely below average. Like, that's not debatable. Is he absolutely, without a doubt, the worst Pokemon in the game that you can play as? I'm not sure, but if that isn't the case, which I think it is, but if it isn't, then it doesn't help that people think he's the worst, because they're just going to rage quit if he's on their team, is the problem. So you can't have characters that people perceive as bad being below average. It just leads to rage quits. So they need to buff him a little bit. One of the things they could buff him with is by making one of his attacks that does pitiful amounts of damage actually deal more damage. One of his abilities, it seems like all of his abilities are difficult to aim. Like, you gotta custom aim them for the most part if you want to land them, or at the very least you have to wait for proper timings to use them. So he's difficult to play. So if, like, one of his abilities, if you land it, you're not even rewarded much for it, that's super disappointing. Like, that's not okay. So there wasn't much turn-ins on that particular match. So yeah, I guess we're done talking about Pokemon Unite because we gotta move on to the next highlight. And I feel like I made my point already with the Venusaur, so I think it's fine. They just need to make him a little bit stronger. Like, make that one ability when he lands it do more damage, then I think it's okay. It doesn't do enough damage, so he's not as rewarding. So I lost to a whatever deck. It was a fairy deck. Actually, I might have won, but I kind of beat myself. Like, I made some huge mistake, and I wasn't going to be able to attack for the turn, and I got embarrassed and decided, you know what, it's not worth it to play this out, I'm just going to quit. And I think that's great that you're allowed to concede in the Pokemon card game, because otherwise it would be way too frustrating. Because it's one-on-ones, so it's not like you're hurting anybody, like, you're not like hurting your team by quitting, like it would happen in League of Legends, so I'm glad we have that freedom. So yeah, I think playing a mixture of one-on-ones and team battles throughout the week is a good thing. I think it allows for a healthier mindset, I think, personally. So, sometimes I say you don't want to play just one game, that's true. But you want to play a balance of games. You want to play a proper balance, play something that's good for your mental health, right? So I went back to Expanded, so that's what this highlight is all about, me rage quitting Standard for the day. And so it's just like a bunch of games that I played. So he had one of the better EX Pokemon that you can use, but as you can see, it's not much of a match for the tag team Pokemon. That's what power creeping is in card games. Gotta make sure you stay up to date on the newest content. That guy does have a Diancie Prism Star, but I hope he didn't trade like half his collection to get it, because it really wouldn't be that difficult to get a Diancie Prism Star. You could probably... Anyway, whatever. Like, if you win a tournament pack and get a Prism Star card, you could just trade it for the Prism Star card that you want. So, just play some tournaments. Spend your tickets, guys. Spend your tickets if you're trying to get tradable stuff. Don't trade, 5 rares for 1 rare or some nonsense like that. Trade 1 rare for 1 rare. There are plenty of nice traders out there that have plenty of extra stuff that'll trade you. I've traded Pokemon that are definitely worse than the Pokemon that I want, and people will accept it. It's not going to happen 100% of the time, but it happens often enough that it's worth doing every time you want to do it, At least that's what I think. So this was a I don't know what kind of deck this was supposed to be. A Raichu deck. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess it was a joke. I'm not sure. Anyway, he may have just been testing out his deck. Blah blah blah. Seeing maybe he was trying to run some stats or something. I assume it was some sort of like scientific experiment that he was running. Blah blah blah. This was a pretty messed up start, I think, but I think I might have won this match. Like I don't have any supporters, but Whitebird's able to prevent the Tapu Lele from retreating, and Tapu Lele is having difficulty coming up with enough damage to one-shot the Whitebird, and because of that, he's choosing not to attack with it. So I don't know. He may have not realized that I was able to force him retreat, force him keep him from retreating, or maybe he was hoping he could top deck like switch cards, like maybe he has escape ropes or switches or other things that he was trying to draw, and maybe he was expecting to draw him and didn't draw him. So I don't know. So I actually used his Malamar EX to provide the knockout, which does expend an energy, but he's able to use the energy to deal some damage anyway, so it works out okay. It's just a matter of whether you'd rather have the EX Pokemon in your deck or the item card in your deck, I guess. Maybe he wanted to have fewer items in the discard because maybe that's better against Garbodor. I'm not sure if that's the reason or not, but maybe he also figured being able to repeatedly do it just for an energy is nice because you can draw lots of energy pretty easily, whereas drawing an item when you can only have 4 copies, it might not be the easiest thing ever. Anyway, and that's all for that highlight. There wasn't really much happening. There's just a lot of weak opponents that I played against there that time and expanded. And that's the great thing about the expanded format is there are a lot of weak opponents trying to find other weaker opponents to win against. So I'm definitely one of the weaker opponents. I'm probably better than average, but there's so many good players in standard. It's insane. So it's kind of irrelevant. I'm actually a weaker player in standard. So it all depends on your perspective. Anyway, I obviously could invest more time in standard, and I could probably become at least an average player in standard. But average isn't good enough to be good in events. I know. So I might be able to do well in expanded events, but I feel like it's not worth the risk to find out. I know a lot of the time the people that you're going to find in the events are going to be strong just because they have the confidence to spend their tickets, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so there's only 3 more highlights left for now. We've got one for it's a couple of hours of me playing Super Neptunia RPG. So I had to defeat the bosses again because the game crashed, and then we went around and defeated the monster marks. Oh right, yeah. I guess I'm not sure if I said that happened in the previous highlight, but if it did, it didn't actually. I was lying because I misremembered what blah blah blah. Anyway, yeah. So this thing was actually pretty tanky. It took a while to kill it. And then there were some other marks we found somewhere or another. In a lot of the areas, you actually find a mixture of stronger and weaker monsters, like the monsters you were running into before. After story progression happens, I mean to say. So those big guys, the white and green big guys, they were what am I trying to say? They were not in the forest before I progressed the story this far. This guy actually does a ton of damage, I realized. If you let him. Previously, I think I only had him by himself when I fought him, maybe. I'm not sure. And so this time I would take out, or it was these guys weren't there before, maybe. Maybe they were coupled with the slime, and me taking them out first might have been a bit of a mistake. Especially since I think they power themselves up when you attack them. The big guys do, so ignoring it and going for the the Dogu or the Slime, whatever we're going to call it, may have been the better choice, for sure, since the Dogu gets out of control pretty fast if you don't take him down quickly. Anyway, so eventually I was supposed to go to this forest, and it took me a while to figure out where the final marks were at some point or another. I don't think I ever found him eventually, and then we had this story scene with these two characters, and the plot thickens, I guess you could say. She ends up going to sleep, and she's all talking down to her as if she's the boss, and I feel like we kind of already suspected that this might be the case, but now we have more evidence supporting the theory that the blondie is the boss. Anyway, so we got two more highlights. We got a Feria and another, so two more card highlights, and then we're going to be playing some platforming later on. So you platforming fans, don't get disappointed. We're going to have some more highlights for that in the second half of this video. So actually, I wonder if I should just release this as it is, just with these highlights. No, we'll release it on Thursday, I think. So I had this new deck that I had built, which was supposed to be like a fast flying deck. So I added things like Demon Wing because it only requires one Desert, and Demon Salmon because it only costs 2 and has haste. I was trying to make some aggressive decks. I'm not sure if it won any games today, but it definitely won a game at the end of the previous stream. So I thought it was, I don't know. I knew it would need some tweaking, but I wasn't sure just how much tweaking it would need. I'm not sure if I actually built the deck from scratch or not, or if I just... Yeah, I probably did, yeah. But then, like, I don't know, like, the thing is, like, I have a screenshot, so it's just more efficient just to... I don't know. I don't know what I'm even saying. Forget it. Anyways, I did some deck building. Let's just leave it at that. And you can go through the process and see for yourself. Okay, so these 3-cost 3/3s, I was experimenting with them. I wasn't really able to get them to do what I wanted them to do. Like, I wasn't getting cards that I wanted. Like, a lot of the time, the opponent wanted, like, 1 or 2 of the cards, if not all 3 of them, while I didn't want any of them. It was really awkward. So, I cut the card. I was losing matches because of it, honestly. Or maybe not necessarily losing because of it, but it wasn't really like actually gaining me any sort of advantage. And it felt like it was giving advantages to the opponent that they didn't deserve, so... Now this version of the deck, as you can see, has an event in it, or alternatively you can call it a spell or whatever, or trainer card. Basically a non-creature, non-Pokemon, whatever. Anyway, excuse me. So these will allow me to have some instantaneous effects on the board. So he, let's check this out. Let's see what happened real quick here. So he used a Topaz Yak and played a couple of planes after giving that guy charge. And this Yak Shepherd really surprised me, because I didn't even realize that the card existed. I think if you type Yak into the search, I don't think it even shows up, perhaps. I'm not sure. Like, in the collection of cards. But anyway, because it only cares about, like, whether it shows up in the text, maybe. I'm not sure. Or if it happens to have the classification. So for the flying Yak, it has the classification of Yak, so it shows up. This is just a theory. I could be wrong. Maybe I just forgot that it existed because I'm an idiot. That's entirely possible. Anyway, I did want to see what happened this turn, on his turn. Let's watch through this sequence. I think it wasn't remarkable. Like, I didn't put my creature on the mountain because if I did that, then I wouldn't be able to gather Faria. Fickle, by the way, sent me a friend request, so that's kind of cool. And I could show off that we played this match together. So he runs out of Faria playing that, and I start freaking out about the board state for no particularly good reason. I guess I was just kind of annoyed that he was blocking my access to the orb, but anyways, you can see I'm 12 Faria to his 0, so there's nothing to freak out about, really. Not sure if that was a great play or not, but it was a play. Puts more damage against his orb for what it's worth. So I was able to deny his harvesting, and that was pretty much the end of the match. Figure I could step on his mountain thanks to the guy that I played the previous turn, so it turns out it was a fine play. I was thinking about moving him towards my desert, but I didn't end up doing that. Yeah, he actually swallowed my creature, which was pretty interesting, not gonna lie. I figure I might as well rescue my creature before the game ends. He was trying to compliment me on well played. I was trying to say thanks, but there isn't really a thanks emote. Don't ask me why. I would have said well played, but I didn't want to sound like a jerk, because I'm not sure if he thought that he was playing well or not. They could say like nice try, but again, I'm not entirely sure if I would tell someone nice try. I would use it, I just wouldn't use it as often as some people might. I definitely wouldn't use it when I don't mean it. Anyway, and we have a highlight of me playing multiple matches in Pokemon. So here we had me playing my Steel Pokemon deck, basically. Like, just a deck that I was building for the challenges. Obviously, I tried to make a good deck, but this isn't like, days or weeks or whatever of me trying to build a good deck. This is just like one day, once I got like the bare minimum that I needed to actually make something good, and like, we went for it. Like, I didn't have a Corviknight, I think. I think I had to trade for all my Corviknights. So eventually I ended up getting like 3 of them, although for these matches I only had 1 at the time. This was just yesterday, actually, so... anyways, this is not the matchup that you need the Steel Pokemon for. So it's entirely possible that I lose this match, yeah. But, I still got at least a couple knockouts. It wasn't a waste of time. I did have to go AFK for a bit here. I was looking at my deck, deciding whether or not I wanted to make tweaks to it. It seems like I did make some tweaks to it. I was thinking about adding a frying pan and other things too. I think in the end I decided not to add any tools. Of course, I'm using quite a lot of expanded cards, but I think I will eventually try to make my metal deck be standard. I might have a standard and an expanded metal deck. Who knows? So I was playing against a poison deck, and I think I actually managed to sneak out a win. But I feel like I've seen stronger poison decks, and I think they include the VMAX version of that Galarian Slowbro. So it's entirely possible this guy's trying to get more copies of the Galarian, Slowking. Right. No, he doesn't have Slowking, does he? That's just Slowbro. Yeah. I have Slowbro myself, and I don't have Slowking now that I think about it. I don't... Actually, there's no VMAX for Slowbro, if I remember right. If there is, I don't think I have him. Anyway, yeah, there was a few awkward turns with, like, yeah, so that was the turn where I completed the 1000 damage challenge, yay. But I still needed to knock out more Pokemon, so... Anyways, so we had a match against Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia, and Guzzlord, and Naganadel, and blah blah blah, who knows what else. Mew and Mewtwo. So basically a bunch of like legendary Pokemon and Ultra Beasts and stuff. I don't know if I won or lost this match, but I think it was close either way, maybe, kind of. I guess I lost. What was I trying to draw? I'm not sure. I guess it doesn't matter. Oh no, that's what it was. Wait a minute. Was I not able to click on attack? Let's slow that down. Oh, maybe it's because I didn't retreat it. That might have been a super dumb... I might have been very tired when I played this match. Because I think what I was supposed to do was switch into Dialga and then retreat with Dialga, right? Yeah. Let's just move on. I'm sure that's what happened. That's why I clicked on the wrong thing. It wasn't available. I should have switched first. My brain wasn't working right. It was like trying to hoard my switch card, I guess, instead of use it. Anyway, yeah, I make misplays like that from time to time. And sometimes I don't always understand what my misplay was. That's why it's good to go watch your replay, so that way you can make sure you know what your misplay was. Because sometimes you just straight up get confused in these games. In these games where you're trying to be competitive, blah blah blah. If you want to be competitive, make sure you watch your losses. So that's why I think it's important to have highlights of unique matches as well as highlights of multiple matches. Like especially if you're just playing the same deck over and over again. I think that's fine. So I was playing against a normal type deck, and this is where we get to see a little bit of the potential of powerful energy. Like Lugia is a pretty decent card as a GX Pokemon, and then there are a bunch of other normal types. The double is pretty good. I actually beat this guy without really trying, but it was nice to see his deck, even though it wasn't a good one, just because it reminded me of some other things that I was learning at the time and kind of reinforced the lessons in my head a little bit better. But I don't think it was very interesting for you guys to watch, probably. But if you want to sub to my Twitch, you can watch all the highlights you want, whether they're interesting or not. Including this entire 1 hour and 4 minutes highlight. And obviously, like, there are highlights within this highlight which I didn't make, which so you can skip around to, right? So that's something I've been offering for people to do for a long time for free. I've been offering it for like, more than a year, really. I've been an affiliate for such a long time now. Was that the last highlight? Oh my goodness, I'm not sure if it was the last highlight or not. But there's definitely more to come on Thursday or Wednesday, whatever. yeah, that was the last one. So I might cut off the end of this video or something like that. Or maybe we won't, maybe that's too much effort. So, but yeah, it's 7:11 where I am right now. I don't have much time to do whatever, but I guess I could, I don't know. This recording is definitely well under 2 hours, but it is a little bit over 1 hour, so we're probably going to have another 2-hour long episode. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with the rest of the recording. Okay, so it's working now. The sound is working. So I was having an audio problem. For whatever reason, like I was having issues with getting the game to record, and so I accidentally had the game's audio playing twice, which is not desirable. So this highlight probably isn't the best to watch. This person is the sister of that person that's kind of like a Pokemon trainer. Oh man, the sounds are horrible. There are some pipes. And we could go into some of them, kind of like Mario, but we don't need to do much exploring, if any, in them. In this particular highlight, I'm mostly fighting like dragons and just kind of exploring on the outside before we go into the headquarters or whatever. Anyway. So yeah, there wasn't a whole lot that I necessarily did there because I wanted to make time for something else too. So anyway, so I also played some Pokemon cards. So basically what I did this day, I believe if I remember correctly, was I just basically converted my Lapras standard deck into an expanded deck. Because I wanted to see how it would do in expanded, because standard was kind of a nightmare. There were so many like single and rapid strike Pokemon decks, which seemed like super overpowered compared to anything else you could play. And so I was just wondering how it would do in expanded in general. And so this is like a little over an hour worth of me just messing around with Lapras and expanded pretty much. If we have another highlight here in the next day or two or so where I actually built some other deck types, whether for standard or for expanded. I remember building a purple deck that did somewhat decently. So you can see for my expanded version, I decided to try to put in more Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, yeah, I figured that our Manitan might become helpful. I don't know how much he's really done, to be honest, but anyway, I'm not really sure how many wins or losses or whatever I picked up. Oh yeah, this guy's Celebi deck was really good if I remember right. He actually had a lot of ways to heal it up to full. Anyway, I think I just in general had probably a somewhat miserable time trying to play it. expanded as well. I'm not sure, but anyway, take a look at the current scores for it, I guess, real quick. Not sure if I ever deleted it or not, or what, but it shouldn't take too long. Just go quickly to the deck manager and check. This is an expanded deck. This is probably it. I only played 3 games of it. That doesn't sound right. Well, at least it's telling me that I won a single game out of like 3, so. Anyway, oh, I put in Empoleon instead of Darmanitan, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I guess so. Yeah, the current version has Empoleon instead. It also has Ranger in it for some reason. I just realized I've totally had forgotten at least about that Pokemon Ranger until yesterday. Just how good it was. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue to listen to this music, because why not? So that was 2 highlights. Alright, there's 4 more. Let's get through them so we can wrap up this video. I was actually supposed to have streamed yesterday, but I didn't get around to doing it. I was supposed to stream Mario Maker again, but instead I only ended up streaming it on Monday. So here I am working on a new course for Mario Maker. I've got a long way to go to finish that course up. We've had people wanting to like play multiplayer with me or something, so I was trying to set that up, but I guess they were a really new player and they didn't know what they were doing. So we eventually do start to get to do some multiplayer, and they lose every time, so yeah. Anyway, it took them. I remember we were here. See, this is where the locked door was. I open up the locked door for them, and then they don't go through for like a really long time. I remember. I was like waiting around, and eventually I just touched the goal without them, I think. Anyway, and then we had a viewer level, an actual viewer level submission for like a level that should be like Team Precision, I guess. Eventually I beat it. Yeah, there we go. Course clear. I was 1 millisecond slower. And then we go back to working on Luigi Impersonators 3 here. I put up some semi-solids, we do some coin decoration, move some stuff around for this area, start to add like some floors or whatever for the player to fly up to. Anyway, overall it's starting to look pretty good. So I might spend some time working on this today. Enough of that. So that's the new Mario course that I'm working on. Alright, so there's 3 more highlights here. Alright, this was actually the Mario tribute dungeon. Oh, that was a Pokemon tribute here. There was actually like a Snorlax kind of like wannabe Pokemon in there, and you have to wake him up with a flute, and when he wakes up, he actually fights you, and then yeah. Anyway, There's like a stronger than usual dragon that was supposed to fight. I think I found it and fought it. And then there's some story event stuff happening, and then like more story events stuff starts happening, and we have to go back into the pipe again, and ooh, now we're outside of the pipe, blah blah blah. I did kind of want to show you guys something real quick here. I didn't do that much battling inside the pipe, but when I did, there would be these like brown, slimes, and they were basically called Dogoombas instead of Doggoos. So that was pretty cute. Anyway, this dungeon in general is supposed to remind players of like 1-2 from Super Mario Bros. On NES. So I think it did a pretty good job of looking like it. So if you guys want to check that out, go ahead and do that. A lot of the time I'm just in battle here. Oh yeah, and there was like a side boss character you could find that you had to jump up above the level to go challenge. So that was pretty cool. And there it is, that's the guy that I found. Anyway, that's enough of that highlight. So then we had Pokemon cards. Again, so this time I'm playing a bit of my metal deck. Presumably I'm working on a daily challenge. And then I had another daily challenge maybe for a purple deck, or maybe I just wanted to make a purple deck afterwards after I was done with the metal stuff. I was also at one point or another examining whether or not I'd traded off any single strike or rapid strike Pokemon, perhaps undervaluing them, and I couldn't find any evidence of me trading them off in the trade section, so that was kind of cool, although I might have missed some opportunities to trade for some of those cards, which is very likely. At least I didn't trade any of them off, so... I was playing against a Rapidash deck, which is probably not the best test of power for this deck, but well, I mean, you do have Charizard, but I guess if he doesn't draw well enough, then Charizard doesn't become a major threat, in theory. I think I actually might have lost against one of the Charizard decks. I think I did a lot of conceding when I figured I'm probably not going to win. This Eldegoss V guy, I almost never see anyone play it, but I think it's actually a really good card, at least particularly for expanded, if not also for standard. Like, its ability seems really good. It's like VS Seeker, kinda. So I really like it. Anyways, I do have one copy of Shadow Rider and Shadow Rider VMAX in this deck, so it can use that card. Also, one point eventually put Air Balloon in the deck. That way Articunos can retreat for free, which I think is really cool. Let's look into some other Pokemon here. A lot of the things have like 2 or 3 retreat costs. There isn't much that has like 4 retreat costs nowadays at the moment. Like Snorlax and other things like it have 3 for some reason. I kind of want to cancel the search, or what do we call it, the fast forwarding or rewinding or whatever. Oh, I lost to an Ice Rider deck. Yeah, no surprise there, I guess. Ice Rider is really strong. Yeah, I was lamenting about how I didn't even play against a single Ice Rider deck while I was using my metal deck. And that kind of thing was happening. And then all the Ice Riders pop their heads back out to play when I try to play a purple deck. It was pretty unfortunate. Anyway, last highlight of the week. So this was me playing Levelhead a couple days ago. Yesterday I kind of took the day off from streaming. I wasn't really planning on it. I was planning on doing just like a really late stream, and I just got really tired, and then just like, nah, it's too hot, I can't do it. And so I just went to sleep or whatever. uh, when it's like really hot, all I want to do is sleep, kinda. So I was playing the tutorial, I think, for the beginning. Yeah, there's the little bug thing that you can collect. Um, that part was kind of challenging, but I managed to beat it eventually. And then we found an auto scroll level, which was difficult to say the least. I eventually got it, I believe. And then after that, there was a troll level apparently. Yeah, look at that. You're not allowed to flip that switch. You're supposed to like go flip that one instead, basically. And there's a lot of like shenanigans. It reminded me of a Mario Maker 2 troll level, basically. I think that's definitely what they were going for. So then this is me working on my course. Luai showing up to sending me a recommendation. So partway through me building this, we switch over to Luai's course. So I actually did a bit of practicing. I was doing some package hops, or whatever you call it. Package assisted, like super jumps or whatever. Anyway, and then later, I don't know if it was like off stream or on stream, I added in like an enclosure just for people that wouldn't be able to do the package jump. I'm not sure if I should just allow the player to access the enclosure immediately, or if there should be some sort of requirement to it. But technically, I was doing the jump with the crate and not the package. So the idea was the player can use the crate to help them get around. Anyways, this is the first course that I'll be using the Sky Wigglers in, which is those things. There's one space tall by 2 space wide things on the ground on each floor, below an arrow that's pointing up. So those things are called Sky Wigglers, and they're basically kind of like the wind monsters in Mario Maker 2. They're considerably less random feeling though, which is pretty cool. I think I prefer the Sky Wigglers to the wind monsters in Mario Maker 2. Anyways, so I spend quite a bit of time making sure things look nice, blah blah blah, making sure stuff is hard. Started playing Luai's course. He may have been AFK when I started it, but he eventually confirms that he's watching. And anyway, it does take me a long time to beat it, so I would say that worked out just fine. So if he does want to watch me play it from beginning to end, of course you can just go watch the highlight here on Twitch. I was commenting on how fast they were able to clear it. If more people wanted to get higher than me, then they could, I would imagine. But anyway, my score was as high as it was because I bothered to collect all of the gems. But not everybody did that. If you just collect all the gems and do it faster than me, then you would score higher than me. That's basically how that would work. This is another Luai level. He didn't recommend this one. I just decided to play it myself. And I also wasn't sure if he was going to spend any time watching this or not. I don't know if he did or not, but I don't really mind one way or the other, I suppose. Anyway, I didn't spend too long on it, but I definitely couldn't beat it, unfortunately. So then I went back to building my own level. And I started doing some play testing and stuff, trying out different ideas. Yeah, I was checking out better ways to sort of like put it inside the enclosure or whatever, make it look nicer, blah blah blah. Had some cool ideas for placements of gems and stuff. Um, we decided to try to use like a switch to turn on the sky wigglers instead of them being on automatically, and that's a pretty interesting idea moving forward. That way, in order to advance, the player has to flip the switch. Also, mess around with the idea of putting spikes inside enclosures. Um, that way, if the player puts their nose where it doesn't belong, they can get killed. Trying to find enclosures where there shouldn't be on them. Or I don't know. Not sure if that's trolly or what, but I might end up putting some signs to sort of like hint that there's spikes there or something. I'm not sure if I'll put in signs or not, but I might. We'll see what happens. Also, I need to figure out what I want to do for buddies. Um, I might put some on each floor, and I might not. I don't know. Anyway, that's basically the last highlight of the week. So tomorrow I'll be playing Morpharia and some other stuff like that. Today I might stream just because I took yesterday off, but obviously not for my YouTube video uploads. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I might just spend the whole day building in Mario Maker and Levelhead, and if that happens, then I might not see a need to stream. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching.